Let's make a brief introduction. Lucia and Luigi are founders of the company La Saponaria, which was founded in 2007. It is a company that produces natural, organic, but most importantly, as they like to call it, conscious cosmetics. So next we'll have them explain what conscious cosmetics means. In addition to being business partners, they are also partners in life, and thus represent, from what I guessed, the two souls of this company, so I am glad to have them both as guests. Currently, La Saponaria has 50 employees, a plant of about 3,000 square meters, and they offer about 250 products, both at single brand stores called BioStory and through online sales in their portal, and at about 1,000 stores spread throughout Italy, and they are also moving outside of Italy. La Saponaria has received several awards over the years, including Bio Award for some of their products, for their chosen packaging, then Eco Packaging Awards, then Choice of Lightweight, Recycled Packaging, and for also adhering to projects with ethical aims of environmental protection. It has twice been included in the list of leading Italian growth companies named by Il Sole 24 Ore, and the 2022 Growth Champion for Business and Finance by La Repubblica, also present among the 1,000 fastest growing European companies in 2022 for Financial Times. So it is a company that has also evolved very quickly. From 2023, La Saponaria also becomes a benefit company. So then we will certainly hear what it means to have become a benefit company and what does this transformation represent. So, we can say that this company definitely represents the organic cosmetics industry and is also a perfect match with ethical principles and values of respect and environmental protection. Here, Luigi, tell us how you got here.
So, we were born now 17 years ago, so time passes quickly. And from the interview from 17 years ago, it is clear, unfortunately. But joking aside, it basically comes from the combination of our skills. I am a chemist, basically, so I do more of the operational part, the formulations, the whole production part, the more scientific part, in quotes, while Lucia tells us what she does.
Yes, I complete the scientific part with what is the communication and bringing to people the products and our message, so I do the business part but also the research and development part in the company, so together we do a mix of business areas.
This meant that over the years there was precisely this mix that later led to the Saponaria. We started from an idea of self-production, producing things for ourselves. First of all, because there were no cosmetics on the market. That met our requirements. Basically, we are quite environmentally conscious people and quite careful about what we eat in the first place, what we put on our skin, what we buy. And from there, so we chose to produce cosmetics, because at that time, there were not. 20 years ago, this kind of products didn't exist. They weren't really on the market. It was very difficult to find something like that. And so we decided to make them for ourselves, first of all. Then we saw that they were very appreciated. We started to give them as gifts to friends. They liked them, so we chose to do some markets just to pay for our vacation. Like, we were young, easygoing people at that time.
So you started in your early 20s?
Yes, Lucia was still doing university, if I'm not mistaken. I maybe just graduated or still doing university at that time, so really a long time ago, a geological epoch. And from there I saw that we liked how it was going, and I said, why don't we make it our profession? We both had jobs, so I was a designer of photovoltaic systems.
I was working in the area of sustainability too. Somehow ethics and environment have always been of our sine qua non at work. So I was also working in the area of ethical finance, always in the area of communication. But we both were clear that through our work, we wanted to leave a positive impact. And so La Saponaria was born from this very commonality of values, from wanting to do something together that would generate a positive impact for people and the environment.
So from there we started, then we didn't stop basically. We started a lot with the help also of solidarity buying groups, both financial, because at the beginning with a kind of shares, which at that time precisely was a kind of crowdfunding, although at that time it was not yet called crowdfunding or fundraising. And then especially with the commitment to support each other, to buy products and so on, the gas still represent precisely one of our markets, our customers in short, and from there, we have not stopped. Now we have arrived at the situation that you have already described well.
Great, very good. But one thing I wanted to add with respect to what you have told us, what do you think, Luigi, are the distinguishing features of your products, even for those who maybe don't know you? You are very well known, but for some of our users who are listening to you for the first time, how would you describe them?
Our products are very varied, starting from products for self-production, so for making your own cosmetics at home, to serums rather than soaps and creams. If I had to say one distinguishing feature of the products, is really naturalness, commitment to having truly natural products. And what distinguishes, in my opinion, primarily just us as a company, I think is consistency. In the sense that we have consistency in our products, in the sense that if we can't make a product that meets our expectations from a natural point of view, and also from a quality point of view, we don't make it. We think it's better, rather than making so many, since there are already so many products on the market. We don't need to make €1,000 bill plus. We only do it if we believe it's a product that really somehow makes sense to make.
Then, as we were saying before, we talk about conscious cosmetics. It means that they are not only natural, that is in the sense that we have not only taken the chemistry out of cosmetics, the harmful chemistry, but what we question when we think about a cosmetic is everything that goes around 360 degrees. So from how we produce it in the company, how people work in the company, who are our suppliers. So where do we go to get the raw materials? There is organic and organic. There is organic that comes from the other side of the world, and there is organic from small local farmers. Clearly, they have a different value, and we go and choose them consciously, then go and support those supply chains that we then think are worth supporting and add value to our projects.
Yes. Well, so let's say that La Saponaria represents a well-rounded company, as I was saying a little bit at the beginning. So these value aspects of caring for the environment are very important, which is what I think makes customers fall in love, not only with the product, but also with what's behind it. A little bit from the narrative that you are giving us to give some food for thought to our listeners who just want to approach this world, this industry. We certainly perceive from your words how the passion, the interests, the founding values, that is, what do you look for from a job? What did you look for? What do you look for every day from your profession? What have been a little bit the pivotal bridges of your profession? This applies a little bit, as we always tell our users, it applies a little bit to all trades. So if at the time we choose a job that is good for us, remaking our interests, if we choose something that we are passionate about, that fits perfectly, as if it were a tailored suit, surely we are also able to overcome some difficulties. Earlier, you talked about the fact that initially you were doing this to pay for your vacation, so it was not a real profession. However, over time it has become one, and so pursuing a goal that is in line with one's own person, with one's own values, also allows us, this at least is what I perceive also from your words, to face difficulties, to stay the course, so not to give up, and to make sure that this dream can then turn into a project and a reality in its own right, and yours has become an important reality. So this applies to self-employment as well as to those who decide to work as employees, because we know that choosing on the basis of who we are allows us to keep ourselves motivated, active, and rewarded in what we do. However, I wanted to ask Lucia instead, if she would like, to explain a little more about what benefit company means, that is, how this transition came about. So what did this change entail in your work?
We formally became a benefit society. But what are benefit societies? They are those companies that have incorporated within their bylaws objectives that are not only economic, but are also of common benefit. So we have chosen with a participatory path with the people in the company our objectives, in addition to the economic reason. We make cosmetics and we sell cosmetics. In addition to that, what is the social purpose of our company? So we have defined objectives and parameters to monitor them. Let's say that for us there was no real upheaval because these goals and philosophy were really part of our DNA. That is, Saponaria was born to achieve environmental and social goals basically, so they were already part of our DNA and our history. There was no such corporate form when we founded La Saponaria, otherwise we probably would have done it back then. When this opportunity arose, we felt it was right to formalize these commitments, so we made them formal, concrete, and shared within the whole company, because we see precisely, as you were saying, that the people who work in the company, it is important that they feel involved in a project, and that together we arrive at common goals. The focus areas that we have chosen as the main areas of our work are sustainability, especially sustainability education, environment, and people in the company. So these here are the 3 areas where every year we self-challenge, we give ourselves targets for improvement. I give examples on the environment. Every year we try to be better and better on packaging. Packaging is an important issue in cosmetics, containers, and we are inspired to find more and more sustainable solutions. Every year we try to take a step forward to be better from this point of view. Same with people. Every year we identify areas for improvement, either inclusion or women's presence in the company, or what can be training activities or involvement of people with the goal of being well in the company and growing.
Great. So let's say it was a little bit like putting on paper something that had already moved you. In short, they were already foundational aspects of your company. So it was more of a formalization and also a goal that you set every year. I actually confirm because I always see new products, but mostly new things. How to say, in the form of these products, as well as the packaging, so solid products, rather than powdered. So many variations that a person not experienced in the field did not even think it was possible to have certain products so different.
That's what we like most, experimenting, innovating.
Yes, indeed, this is a very interesting aspect. I would say that talking about environment, with attention, both outward and inward, we could also have a coffee. How about that? Couldn't this be the right time, since coffee in your company represents, the cup of coffee has its own value within the company as well. How about that? Can you tell us something about this cup?
Yes, absolutely. We have the cup as well, and we just equipped all the people, all the staff over the years with their own cups because we thought that that is also a waste, basically. The common habit of all the people is to have a coffee rather than an herbal tea, and so we thought, why do we have to produce waste unnecessarily? And so we contracted our own. First of all, we put a water dispenser inside La Saponaria, which is simply a filter from which everybody can take the water from the municipality, which is obviously drinkable, filtered. and use their own water bottle instead of the plastic bottles from the dispensers, and we also did this action. We hacked the machine, asking to change the software that dispensed a shot glass each time of the disposable kind, albeit biodegradable and so on, because at the end of the day anyway, it's still waste. Basically, we have resource consumption, waste production, and so on and so forth. And so we've broken the coffee machine manufacturers so much that they've changed the software for us, and now everybody has to go underneath and chase the dispenser because it dispenses sugar in one place, milk in another, coffee in the other. We did the math and saved 5,000 cups a year or so.
Wait, so all employees are educated about this mode. They learn to use the new coffee machine. I have to say that we don't have the Haked machine, so we would also like to copy it. Maybe we use the cups, as well as the compostable pods. But it's clear that you are a step ahead of ours, but also we are a nice group of about 30 people, so you also support the use of the cup brought from home. Instead, I like to share with our listeners, Luigi, a little bit how the company is structured, what are the departments. So you are 50 employees, you are a nice number.
As shareholders, we are about 50 people, and we follow the whole process of production, which is not trivial for a cosmetic company, because many companies then have their products produced maybe by third parties, while we have chosen to start from research and development, so from the very ideation of the cosmetic. That is, we start from the idea of making a new product, what we want to do. We start to design it, to think, to study the market a little bit, and then slowly between marketing ideas, research and development ideas, we arrive at the finished product, and that there, for the very ideation part, once the research and development has ideated it, we go to produce it, because we have the internal production here in this laboratory. And then we have storage, from the warehouse where products are shipped to customers and arrive in the store, in your homes. And then, of course, we have all the other parts that are the classic ones. A little bit more horizontal between companies, such as sales, rather than administration, purchasing, of course, which are more common in all kind of companies. And our group is precisely about 50 people overall. So within that we have people, more specific professional figures like research and development, where you have people who are graduates, who tend to be chemists or biologists, pharmacists, and in any case people certainly with a strong specific expertise, while other parts like the company before, like the purchasing department where basically, apart from some specific things, that you have to know the market a little bit, it's a more cross-cutting expertise across all companies.
So yes, as I understand, this more technical area is manned by you, Luigi, while Lucia follows a little bit more the communication and the marketing part. So specifically, if we want to dwell a little bit on these technical profiles, what are, in addition to the degrees that you mentioned to us, the requirements, let's say the entry requirements, a basic training needed to enter this more technical profession? What skills, in addition to technical, what transversal skills do you think are important to do a job of this type in this department?
Technical skills, soft skills, are still important for our company, because then clearly those vary a lot from company to company, but in our company, you definitely need sufficient mental elasticity, adaptive skills. Consider that we started 15 years ago, where we were one person. It was me with one coworker working, and now there are precisely 50 of us with structured departments and so on. So it's clear that it doesn't work at our place like it does at others. What we don't like, we've never liked. One of the things we just can't stand is to hear, "This is the way it's always been done," does not exist, in the sense that 2 years ago we were a completely different company. Maybe
The
there were
world is
10 fewer
changing,
people.
and we value important to know how to evolve and how to adapt to evolution.
Specifically such a technical role, can you give us some idea of how it has evolved, how it has changed?
In general, just think that when I was my age, there were no specific specialization courses, in the sense that basically I did my training in the field. But even now, our research and development manager, who is a guy who is a few years older than me, he also did his training in the field, in the sense that he was not a person who did a specific study of cosmetics. He did biology, and over the years he specialized in the world of cosmetics by working in it. Whereas now, the new people who come in are all specialized anyway, in the sense that they have done, on average, after a degree in biology or pharmacy, they have done a master's degree, because the market has evolved, the labor market has evolved in this segment, and we think that the market in general cosmetics is worth, I think, 700 billion in Europe. And so anyway, it is an important market. Mainly then, Italy and France are the two most important markets as a result, just of production. As a result, there is also a lot of work in the industry.
Sure. So here is another important aspect that you are telling us, and that we often repeat to our young users, but also to adults. The importance of adaptability and readiness to change. That is, there is no longer a static job market, a job role that remains the same always. This is at all levels. We see it also in other sectors, where maybe there is less research and experimentation. However, the roles change, technology is introduced, and therefore it is necessary more and more at all ages to be predisposed to change, to be predisposed to train, to put yourself back in the game and even retrain. You touched on a very important point, which is that of training. There used to be no training in this area. Now there is the second-level master's degree on cosmetics. So it is a crucial aspect of the labor market. Instead, going to Lucia, to her area, since she is the other soul of the company and likewise very important and specific to this area, what are the profiles and skills, especially soft ones, that are being sought to fill these roles?
Let's say that the expanded sales and marketing departments clearly have very varied skills within them. We as a company work on both business to business and business to consumer. So there are those who are more suited or specialized in dealing with other companies, who are actors or subjects of companies, and there are those who are dedicated to dealing directly with the end customer, the people, all the customer care activities. Then there are all the marketing activities that revolve a lot around the digital world. Let's say across the board for all the people who work in these types of departments, I think the digital component is critical. On how a company like ours is structured, which uses digital channels a lot, both in customer research and in one-to-one communication, but in communication in general, digital tools applied to the specifics of each role. However, they touch them all a little bit, so this is a transversal competence, as well as the ability to relate, to empathize, to read both the market but also others, and to know how to communicate. Certainly this also affects everybody a little bit. It touches them in different ways, but it is always present in all the people who are part of this area.
Let's say that even starting from sales, we often get conversing with people who say, "Go there with me too. I would be a salesperson." I mean, it's a bit of a role of its own and very, very much of interest from the users. But here now, while I was talking, I was thinking precisely that there is a difference between selling online, selling in the store, and especially also product knowledge. It's one thing to sell.
As we were saying before, definitely the main driver is passion. We have the fortune, the pleasure of working with good, fragrant, good-tasting products. But definitely you have to be the first user and first-hand to appreciate them. And the stinta to know them, to learn more about them, makes it easy for those who have sales, the love the product that you put forward.